Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
We've owned our VW campervan Nelson for just about 7 years now, and we've just realised that we have never
Done a van tour. So we have travelled for 7 years, over 120,000 miles, and we've never shown you inside. So it's time for a van tour video.
So for those of you that have never come across our channel before, we're Richard and Jackie, and we have been early retired for just over 2 years now, and we love getting out in our VW campervan Nelson. We've owned him for just 7 years now, and we had him converted ourselves.
And for the 2 years that we've done our YouTube channel, we have shown you places to go, we have taken you through accessories for the van, we have given you tips and tricks on how to camper van, but we realised that we've never done a van tour.
So in this video, we thought we would give you quite a detailed tour of the base van that we chose and why we chose that specific model, and some of the things that we had done in the conversion.
And you've got to realise that Nelson is 7 years old now and he's getting a little bit creaky. We absolutely love him to bits, warts and all, but this video is all going to be about the stuff we love about him.
So when we first started looking and we decided we wanted to be part of the van life community, the things that we did know is that we wanted a VW campervan, we wanted it to have low mileage, and we wanted it to be a transporter size because that would fit with our lifestyle and needs.
So what we ended up getting was a Transporter T6. It's not the latest incarnation, the 6.1. It is a 2-litre diesel engine and it is the one size up, so it's 150 brake horsepower, so it's got plenty of guts in it. We bought it just over 10,000 miles on the clock and he's never missed a beat since. And the whole thing about the VW Transporters is that we've been encouraged to hear that they're meant to run for 200,000 miles, so there's plenty of mileage still left in him.
We've had a good go though. We're on 120,000 miles in 7 years, so we're doing a good job of using those miles up. So I think we were quite lucky. We actually were only looking for the van for a couple of months, and we went to a local garage to us, and this had come in. We weren't particularly at that point looking for a VW Combi because they are a lot more expensive, but this one came in and it had lots of pluses that caught our attention. The first thing for me was actually the colour. It's an Acapulco blue, which is quite rare. I think it stands out a little bit more. The only thing we didn't want was something that was white. The second thing was that it had a tailgate, which to us was on our desirable list. We would have gone for barn doors if we didn't find a van that fitted that. But bonus, it came with a tailgate and it's got windows in it. And then the third thing is that it already had the side windows in, so we didn't have to have those put in when we were doing the conversion. So actually, it had bits of the conversion pre-done for us.
And another major plus for having a Combi is that it comes with captain seats. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with that, the standard VW vans tend to come with a bench seat up front that seats 2 people and then the driver as well. To purchase at the time separate captain seats were going to cost us a fortune. So when we opened the doors and realised it was captain seats, it was almost a no-brainer. The spec of the van is Highline, and that's the highest spec that VW do in their transporter range. However, don't be expecting too much. You must remember that these vans have a predominant industrial use, so their spec and their feel inside is probably 1 or 2 grades down from what you would expect in a car. But the Highline spec is really wonderful. So you have all the bells and whistles you could possibly want up front. So we have a heated front windscreen, we have air conditioning, we have controls on the steering wheel. And for me, one of the big important things is that you have cruise control. So when we are driving through Europe, it really does help on those long journeys. We went for a manual. I've never really driven an automatic, and I'm not sure what we would do next time because having driven automatic cars, they are so much easier. But the manual gets us around. I feel much more comfortable. Personally, maybe it's a bit old-fashioned when I'm going on steep ground or rough ground to be in manual, but for us, it hasn't made a difference.
At the time that we bought the van in November 2017, we paid £23,000 and we had to pay VAT on it. And it was quite a lot more expensive than we really wanted to spend. Looking back now, we were so lucky because it was pre-COVID, and actually the base van itself now would probably cost in excess of 40,000 for the same thing. So now we look at it as if we got a bargain.
We're not particularly people that just go for jazzing up vans on the outside, so there's no real added extras. They come with factory alloy wheels, and we've been really happy with those. And for probably 5.5 years, we ran this on the commercial tyres that VW recommends. And it was actually our converter that said that, and he said the reason behind that is that these vans are designed to run on those tyres, so you might as well run them on them. And then in the last 18 months, we've changed over to all-season tyres because we have started going skiing. So they're not full-on winter tyres, but they do have the correct markings on them to cover you in Europe for winter. And they are pretty bomb-proof and have lasted really well. And I'm almost kicking myself that I haven't changed to all-season tyres earlier. But that's probably the only exterior upgrade we've done. In terms of running expense, we were probably paying around about £120 for a commercial tyre, and these all-season tyres came in at around about £140. So there's not a massive price differential, and we are just so pleased with the added security it gives us in winter.
So now we're on to some of the things that we've had done as part of the van conversion. One of the first things that we had done was to have the front captain's seat put onto a swivel base so we can have it as part of our lounge when we're parked up. Underneath the swivel seat, we've had a safe put in, which is great when we're in Europe because we can keep our documents in there and we keep our laptops and any other bits and pieces that we need to keep safe. I think for us, the scariest part of the conversion was having a pop top fitted. We'd obviously invested all of that money in this brand new Combi van. It was only about 6 months old at the time. And yeah, we got photos from the van converter where he'd cut the great big hole in the roof. But the advantages of the pop top, obviously the VW Transporter, you can't stand up in it, and we needed space just to be able to live in it for weeks at a time. So pop top is really easy. We don't know the manufacturer of the pop top. We do get asked that question quite a lot. It was just whoever our van converter used, but it has been a great pop top and it's dead easy to use. We literally have 2 straps either side that are loosened off, and then we just have a quick nudge and it's on gas struts and it will just pop up. We made a conscious decision because we are not particularly wanting to sleep up there, not to use the traditional bedboards. We've actually got the bedboard cut into 2 halves, and we slide this half over the back half, and it actually just makes a really great storage space for us while we're in the van. The other thing is, if you've not got the bedboard still there, you do get that extra headspace over the kitchen area.
We had seen loads of examples of vans that were so luxurious and so plush inside, and that just wasn't us. We don't even have carpets at home because we absolutely trashed them. So we chose, again, it was an industrial flooring that has been absolutely bomb-proof, and we can sweep it out, we can wipe it up, and it just is so much easier to keep clean than worrying about carpets inside the van.
Right from the beginning of us owning the van, we wanted to make sure that we could use it both during the winter and the summer. So keeping the van well insulated was really important to us. So that led to the decision for us not to have curtains, which a lot of conversions at the time that we had the van done had. And we went for quite a new product at the time, the Van Shades blinds, and they have been absolutely fantastic. They give us 2 purposes actually. One, the van, when the van shade blinds are down and we have got the insulated front cover on, the van is absolutely pitch black. You wouldn't know whether it was day or night inside the van. And 2, they are really good at insulating the van in winter. We've been skiing, it was minus 18 degrees last January on a couple of the nights. I'm not going to say the van was warm, but the van shade blinds did keep that extra layer of insulation and warmth inside the van.
Another thing that we absolutely wanted in the van to try and bring a little bit more comfort, or in some respects luxury, to our camping experience was a fridge, and we chose a pretty standard Dometic one that runs off the battery. The issues with that is that it obviously fried our batteries very quickly. They have an awful lot of pull from the 12-volt system. So we then upgraded our 12-volt system to 2 batteries, which gives us 220 amp hours of power. And combining that with the ongoing charging via the solar system that we'll talk about in a minute, manages to keep the fridge going. One of the things that we were a little bit confused about was when we were on hookup, the fridge wasn't running off hookup, and we had to retrofit a mains power converter so that when we were plugged into the mains, the fridge ran off the mains. And talking of mains, we do have an electric hookup facility. When we first got the van, we naively thought that these plugs worked all the time off the batteries, and that's not the case. It's the 230-volt system. So whenever we are hooked up, it pipes all the way through a fuse box to here, and we have mains electricity. One of the things we were really glad about at the time that we did, that didn't really come as standard at that moment in time, was plug sockets with USBs, because that really does help us out when we're on the road, but when we're hooked up. As part of the conversion, we had solar power installed, but the first solar panel we had was one of the uber thin ones that was literally stuck to the roof. We did had a minor accident with that, sort of 6 months into ownership, where it blew off on a French motorway, which was not the best thing. And since then, we converted to a solid solar panel, which gives us 150 watts of solar power. It pretty much gives us power throughout the year. Obviously, it's much better in summer than it is in winter, and then that pipes through to our 12-volt system, which, as I've said previously, runs off two 110 amp hour batteries, which gives us more than enough power than we actually require to top that up when we are on hookup. And to be fair, we don't really need it. We have a Victron battery charger, so if we ever are hooked up on a campsite, it pipes power through to the batteries and makes sure they're fully charged at all times. But in terms of our power needs, when we are off-grid, it is more than enough for running a small VW campervan.
When we had the van converted, we did have a little bit of leeway in how we finished it off, and we wanted to have a wooden worktop just so that it gave it that little bit of extra warmth. We probably haven't looked after it as well as we should have done, but actually 7 years on, I think it's still in pretty good condition. The gas hob that we put on is probably just your standard campervan gas hob, to be fair. It's a Dometic 2-ring gas burner, which we use all of the time. It's been a godsend having that inside the van, because I know some people, when they had the van converted, don't actually have a ring burner put in because it gives you more space. The bit that we're not so sure about, it comes with a sink, and they pretty much all come as a joint combo. Really handy having running water, so we can fill the kettle and we can fill the washing up bowl, but we never actually use the sink. The sink is tiny. I defy anyone to actually do any washing up in there. So ideally, we would have just wanted a gas ring burner and no sink to go with it, just to tap somewhere, but it is what it is. If you're a regular viewer of this channel, you will know that I absolutely love my bed, which is why I'm talking about this bit. It's my favourite part of the conversion. When we first had the van converted, we didn't understand or know that there were probably different kinds of pull-out beds that you could get, and our converter chose a rock and roll pull-out bed, which for our purposes has been wonderful. I know that since then a lot of people have said there are different kinds of beds. You could have had a rib bed put in that would have given us more storage at the back underneath, but it's not made a huge difference in our lives. We love it, and it's so easy to use. We literally just lift up this bit here, pull it out, roll the mattress topper out, and the bed is ready. It's a little bit more tricky, and I think it takes a bit of practice to get it put away again. I think I've seen on the different forums a few people do struggle to get their beds put back, but I think once you've found that secret sweet spot and knack of doing it, it's really simple. We have to have the door open, we have to lift it up a little bit with our knees, but I'll show you.
One of the things we've been absolutely delighted with was our decision to go for a refillable LPG system that is held underneath the van. It saves us loads of space, and to be honest, it saved us loads of money, because we don't have to worry about having gas tanks inside the van. It fills really simply from garages. Granted, the garages in the UK that stock LPG are becoming a little bit more limited, but you can find them, and they are really widespread across Europe. It has an external barbecue point that we absolutely love, that we run our Caddack barbecue from, and the refillable gas tank is a little bit like the magic porridge pot. It never seems to run out, so we fill it up before we go to Europe. We have seemingly months of travel, and it never seems to go down. We don't use a massive amount of gas. We use the external barbecue point, we have 2 burners in the van, and then we have a Propex gas heater that we use in winter, which is really good. So when we're off grid, we can fire that up, and it is in about 5 minutes, it gets the van up to almost sauna-like temperatures, so we've got to turn it off. We've been delighted with the decision to install an underslung gas system.
Something we did invest a little bit extra in than we had to was having the official proper VW bike rack system, which is really handy. We never take it off, it's on there all the time, so if we're just going out and we want to take the bikes with us, we can just shove them on, and equally when we go away to Europe for 6 weeks, they're on there. We do have locks that come with the system, just pulls down. It does fit 4 bikes on, but I think that would be a bit snug and a bit heavy. Obviously, we only ever take 2 with us, so that's not an issue. It has lock systems on. We have taken the extra locks off just to keep them in the van so they don't rust up, just keeps them working a little bit better. And we do also use some proper heavy-duty locks when we are particularly away in Europe, so that the bikes are kept really safe while we're asleep.
Linked to what Jackie said earlier about the sink, we could probably do without the sink, and something that we never really wanted in the conversion, but somehow it was lost in conversion translation, and we actually ended up with an underslung water tank. Now the benefit of that is that it means that we have got more cupboard space, so we're not having to hold water within the van. The disadvantages of it is it's obviously much more complex. The water tank is outside the van, so it can't be used in winter. We do have a waste tank, but as we sort of said earlier, we rarely use the sink. In fact, we never use the sink. We only use it as a water supply. So it's an added complication that in retrospect we probably wouldn't have had, and if we were doing the van again, we'd think seriously about whether we really need a sink in the van.
One of the big advantages of having no gas canisters and no water bottles underneath the cupboards, which is where a lot of VW owners have them, is that we've got 3 really good sized kitchen cupboards there that we keep all sorts of goodies in, and then we've got another just above the bed there and a huge wardrobe cupboard at the back of the van, so we've got plenty of storage space. There is also another unit that's underneath the rock and roll bed that's got obviously the leisure batteries and the gas Propex heater, but there's still lots of storage under there as well. A bonus cupboard is this one at the bottom. It's really long and it just stores so much stuff, like our chairs and our windscreen.
Inside the van we have this pretty simple sort of control panel, an area that we use in terms of our heating and our gas and our electricity. So we've got a couple of USB ports and a cigarette lighter that runs straight from our leisure batteries. We've got the Propex heater thermostat. We have the gauge for the underslung LPG gas tank, and then we've got a whole series of switches. This gauge is meant to give us indication of how much power's in the battery, but obviously the LED or not the crystal display, it's always a bit of a game and a bit of a guessing game as to where the battery level's at, but we make sure it never goes below 12 because we know that the batteries are getting critically low then, and all of this is just to control fridges and lights within the van. So that's it, our little van tour of our little van, our T6 VW Nelson, over and done with.
Yeah, there were other little details that we could have gone through, but I think we'd have been here forever. But yeah, we've loved having Nelson as our VW camper van to get away and explore all the parts of Europe and the UK.
He really has changed our life. He's changed our philosophy and our outlook on life. And, you know, if you are thinking about a camper van, then we would be the biggest advocates of that. But for now, hopefully that has just given you some ideas of what works for us.
So in our next video, we have also had a good think about some of the little quirky things that are maybe a little irritating to do with the van, and some of the things that we might change if we were to go back and do the conversion again, and some of the quirky things that come along with owning a VW in itself. So catch us next week for that. Bye.
See ya.